Hello. Today we are discussing a question whether you may or may not make a recording of a conversation, and if you may or may not like use it as an evidence in a litigation. Let's start with the relevant provision of the criminal code, which specifically prohibits interception of communications, and though mostly it was meant to be used against some unauthorized government bodies or something like that, still it is prohibited to make a recording of a conversation unless, as you can see in the saving provision, you're a party of it. So if you're recording basically your own conversation with somebody else, at least criminally, usually you're not at fault. And in that sense, even in a civil litigation, if you made a recording, or at least that's what the Court of Appeal says, if you made a recording where you were a party of a conversation where you were a party of, and then you're trying to use it in court proceedings and in a court litigation, then it's okay, you can do that, at least it's admissible. Most of the times, of course, there are nuances. If you have, again, some particular situation, it's a good idea to consult your own lawyer. But in general, by way of just general information, yes, it is admissible. And not so long ago, the Superior Court of Quebec again confirmed that even from the point of view of civil fault, because there is a criminal fault, it might be, and the civil fault, there is a difference. In even from the point of view of civil fault, making a recording of a conversation where you're again a party of, it's not a civil fault, like, again, generally speaking. So it can be done, and the recording can be used again as an evidence in court. The situation becomes different, though, if you're recording a conversation of somebody else where you were not a party and where they didn't know that you were recording, meaning that for them their conversation was private, and if you made such a recording, that was your interference with their right to privacy according to the Quebec Charter. If that happens, and if that happens when you knew what you were doing, and if that happens in the circumstances, in the situation where people would be expecting that their conversation would be private, it's not that they were shouting out loud on some like town square, or it's not that they were discussing something by typing in a like public chat or something like that. They were just talking over Zoom or Skype or over the phone, and they were expecting that nobody else would interfere, or if, for example, it was a conversation in some kind of a messenger, but again, where the conversation was just private to them both and you were not a part of it. So in such a situation, if you made a recording, if you made a recording again intentionally, then according to the opinion, to the judgment of the Superior Court, that might constitute a civil fault, meaning that, well, depending on the situation, of course, on particular facts, but like generally, theoretically, if you did that, you might be ordered to pay damages, to pay money in compensation and as your own punishment for doing something illicit. If the recording was not done intentionally, let's say you simply left a recording device, forgot a recording device in your own room or in your own premises at home, and then occasionally it recorded somebody else. And when you realized that that happened, you just stopped it and deleted the recording. Then at least there is no intentional act. But if when you realize that it is happening, or it happened, you continue to use it, then again, because there is a result, like there is an intention to obtain a particular result, then the fault becomes again intentional, and therefore it becomes graver. So to sum up, it is prohibited by the criminal code to make a recording or a conversation unless you're a party of it. If you were a party of it, it's neither criminal nor civil fault generally and usually, and you can use it in your legal proceedings, such a recording. And if you were recording somebody else's conversation in a situation when there was a reasonable expectation of privacy, and if you made that intentionally, then even in a civil lawsuit, you might be found at fault and ordered to pay some damages. So here it is, a short review of this question, of the situation. I hope you know better where to and where not to make such a recording. Thank you and have a nice day.